True, I was nervous, and I won't deny it. Anyone who carries a secret for too long begins to feel a kind of trembling inside, a tightness that grows day after day. But nervousness is not madness. Madness is confusion and broken thoughts. My thoughts were clear. My purpose was sharp. Every step I took in those days was careful and deliberate. If you listen to my story with an open mind, you will understand that I acted with reason, not insanity. The old man and I had lived together for some time. He trusted me. He spoke to me with warmth. He asked for my help when his hands shook or when his eyes grew tired. He had never wronged me. Not once did he insult me or treat me with anything other than simple kindness. I had no hatred for him. No anger, no greed, no desire to harm him for who he was. If anything, I respected the old man. Perhaps I even cared for him in a quiet way. But something about him haunted me. Something small, something he never meant to burden me with, yet it filled my days with unease and my nights with a strange coldness. It was his eye. Not both eyes. Only one. The pale one, the one with a thin bluish film across it, as if a layer of frost had settled there long ago and never melted. Whenever he turned that eye toward me, even for a moment, a chill slid down my spine. It didn't look at me, it looked through me, past me, into something dark and distant. I tried to brush away the feeling. I told myself that an old man's eye was nothing to fear. I told myself it was a weakness to let such a simple thing disturb me. But the more I tried to ignore it, the deeper it rooted itself in my mind. Day by day, the eye became a presence. A silent watcher. A thing that waited for me in every corner of the house. At times, I would feel it on me even when the old man was asleep, even when the room was dark. One night, while I lay awake thinking about that pale eye, a thought rose in my mind as quietly as the moon rises over a still sea. It was not loud. It did. The room was heavy with fear. I could feel it in the chill that crept along the floorboards and in the sharp breaths the old man took as he sat in his bed, frozen in the dark. He could not see me, but he knew something was there. Something silent. Something watching him. I stood still, holding the lantern with a steady hand, letting only that thin slice of light shine on his open eye. It stared back at me, clouded, pale, empty. The eye had the same cold calm it always did, but tonight it felt different. Tonight it felt exposed. His body trembled, but the eye remained wide, sensing me without understanding. I did not move. I simply watched him, waiting, listening. Then I heard it. A faint sound at first, so soft I wasn't sure it was real. It pulsed through the darkness like a tiny drumbeat. His heartbeat. Slow, trembling, frightened. I had heard it before when the old man was startled or distressed, but never like this. It was clearer tonight. Sharper. Each beat carried a rhythm that seemed to press against the stillness of the room. The sound grew louder, little by little, with every passing second. I tightened my grip on the lantern. My own heart began to match the rhythm, but his beat was stronger, more desperate. He tried to calm himself, but the fear in him kept rising, and the pounding grew. Thump. 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 The sound echoed through my ears as if the walls themselves carried it. I crouched slightly, leaning closer without letting my shadow fall across his face. The old man clutched his blanket tighter, drawing it to his chest as though it could shield him from what he couldn't see. I heard him whisper something, maybe a prayer, maybe the name of someone long gone, but his voice trembled too much to understand. The heartbeat grew louder still. Thump. 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 It was no longer faint. It filled the room with its rhythm, pounding against my mind, filling my thoughts until I could hear nothing else. I told myself to stay calm, and I did. My hands didn't. The knock came softly at first, almost polite, but at that hour of the night it felt louder than it was. I turned toward the door with a calmness that surprised even me. I had worked too carefully, thought too clearly, for panic to take hold. Everything had gone exactly as I planned. There was nothing in the house that could betray me. I wiped my hands on my clothes, smoothed my sleeves, lit a small lamp, and walked to the door with the steady steps of someone who has nothing to hide. When I opened it, 3 men stood outside. Their hats were damp with the night air, and their badges glinted faintly in the lamplight. Police officers. One of them offered a respectful nod and said they had received a report. A neighbor had heard a cry, a single sharp sound, and worried something might be wrong. They asked if they could come inside and take a quick look around. I smiled at them. A wide, warm smile that would have reassured any honest man. Of course, I said. Of course they could come in. I had nothing to fear, nothing to conceal. I stepped aside and welcomed them with a friendly tone, as if they were guests seeking shelter from the cold night. They entered casually, but their eyes were observant. The lamp in my hand cast long shadows across the walls as I led them from room to room. I answered their questions with ease. I told them the old man was away visiting friends in the countryside. I explained that the cry must have been mine. I had had a nightmare earlier, I said with a light laugh. It sounded natural. Even I believed the ease in my own voice. They nodded, taking everything in with calm interest. Their boots made soft thuds on the wooden floor. They peeked into corners, checked the kitchen, looked into the hall. But there was nothing out of place. Everything felt ordinary. I guided them to the old man's bedroom last. I pushed the door open gently and let the lamplight fill the room. It looked exactly as it had an hour earlier, before everything had changed. The heartbeat hammered in my mind, each beat striking harder than the last. It filled the space around me until the officers' voices became little more than faint murmurs drifting in the background. Their calm expressions only made the sound more unbearable. Didn't they hear it? Didn't they feel the floor trembling beneath us? The pounding seemed so loud that the walls themselves should have been shaking. Thump. 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 I shifted in my seat again, trying to breathe quietly, but my breath caught in my throat. One officer asked me a simple question, something about how long I had lived in the house, but I barely heard him. The heartbeat drowned out everything. My thoughts twisted, tangled, raced in circles. I looked from one officer to the next, searching their faces for any sign that they sensed the noise beneath our feet. But they only smiled, relaxed and unconcerned. They were mocking me. They had to be. They were pretending not to hear it just to watch me squirm. The thought crept into my mind and settled there, growing more real with every passing second. The officers' eyes seemed too calm, their voices too gentle. They were enjoying this, I told myself. They knew everything. They were waiting for me to give myself away. The heartbeat grew louder still. Thump. 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 I clenched my teeth. Sweat collected at the back of my neck. The lamplight flickered again, casting long shadows across the floor. My pulse raced, matching the sound beneath the planks until it felt like both hearts, mine and his, were beating in sync, rising together, crashing together. The officers spoke softly, politely, oblivious to the storm building inside my chest. But their ease only made the pounding sharper. I tried to steady myself, but my body tightened with every beat. Thump. 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 I could no longer sit still. My legs trembled. My hands curled into fists. My breath grew uneven. The officers looked at me with quiet curiosity now, noticing my agitation. One asked,